that there's somebody in the Donegal County Council that say they're very stupid and not fit for their job, or they're very rich because Cassidys is paying them off. It's pure corruption.
Well, what's the crack? This is Paddy Diver, a head-on victim of the MICA crisis, and over the last year or so he has become the face of the 100% redress movement. He became extremely frustrated and fed up at the lack of attention and priority being given to MICA by the government.
People are sick to the stomach of this farce of Cassidy supplying concrete blocks to council houses from a MICA infested quarry, and here we are using the same concrete blocks out of the same quarry.
He was enraged that Cassidys were still allowed to operate at will. So one day, a few months ago, he decided to take matters into his own hands and physically block Cassidys lorries from entering a construction site.
Not getting past here. Go fuck yourself. Swing around. Clear the fuck. You may head her back to McCranagh. You're not getting up this road, so you're not. Victory for the wee man.
This video went viral, so he began to get louder and louder. Last week he held a demonstration outside the Dáil to clearly show that the bricks being used to build homes, offices and schools across Ireland have the structural integrity of Weetabix. So I asked Paddy to come on the channel and tell us more about what's going on in Donegal, and how that on the 8th of October he is leading a large-scale protest to put pressure on the government to do the right thing and give the people affected by MICA 100% redress. So check out the timestamps below to flick to the parts of the interview you are most interested in. Because when it comes to what's going on up in Donegal, Paddy Diver does not mince his words and clearly calls out the corruption that is going on. Explain to me, why have the victims of MICA been made work so hard for this compensation?
The government were told in 2014, but they didn't listen. Like, even though there's houses in bother, they didn't really listen. So in 2015 that they knew about it, in 16, but they didn't really care because they knew in 4 years' time maybe somebody else would be in power, and nobody actually done anything about it. You know what I mean? Nobody tried to stop it. If they tried to stop it in 2014, well, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in today. Leo Varadkar went into power, and he didn't know how to stop it. They were still building tax offices, Donegal County councils, schools. They kept using the same suppliers. And whenever the scheme was going on, I wanted my house fixed. I was there 5 years ago, down hauling up the banners, hauling up the signs when Damien English came up from down in Dublin, and we came up with a big crowd. But I wasn't into groups. I was too busy. I was working down the country, and I wasn't into groups because I thought the MICA Action Group was a group that was set up as a group. They never done an AGM for new people to come onto it, for new members. So I just kind of thought that they were doing their job and they're doing the best they can. So until my father passed away then, or my mother passed away, and after a long illness, my sister passed away, and then my father passed away, and I was getting really angry about my house falling down and life in general. And I was driving down past a new council estate was being built in my town. And the last time, I lived in a council house myself. So the last house in the estate and the council houses had was being tossed to the ground. People had to move out because it's crumbling. They're still building the new council house with the same stuff. So I just thought, this is just so wrong. So the same quarry that was manufacturing it, drove up past, so that was going on, and I was really getting ragged up with this quarry, and the manufacturers were still going. Fair enough, a lot of people didn't like them, and there was a lot of talk around our towns about this needs to be stopped, but nobody was stopping it. But they came up past my lane one time, and I just says, that's it, I'm stopping it. So I went out and I blocked the road. I followed Cassidy's lorries to see where they're going all the time, and looking what neighbours was using them, because it's a disgrace that they're still being used. We're still lining their pockets after all the harm that they've done. They never said sorry. I know for a fact that they mixed quarry dust in along with sand, because I was talking to loads of people that worked on there. They told me that the lorry driver told me he'll stand up in court on an affidavit, no problem, that he brought up maybe 5 loads of sand on the day, and the next day when he went down in the morning, that would be doubled. So there's no doubt about it. They're cutting corners. Sand was €12 a ton. The quarry dust only €1 a ton.
Yeah, and this is one of the things I highlighted, that the construction industry or the quarry industry are self-regulating. It's up to them to make their own rules, and you just wonder why. If I'm sure Cassidys isn't the only bad one out there.
There's 2 quarries in Dublin closed because of Pyrite. So straight away, there's your alarm bells ringing. there's something wrong with quarries. It could be potentially something wrong with all the quarries in Ireland here, because there's Pyrite in Dublin, and we know there's Pyrite in Dublin. So there's Pyrite in Dublin quarries. We need to make sure that all the rest of the suppliers, that we don't have to be stuck with this bill again that we're stuck with. So, but they didn't care, because as far as the government think, they think the country's called Dublin. The country's called Ireland.
And you're coming back up to Dublin on Friday, 8th of October. And what do you hope? Are you hoping to deliver another letter, or what are your expectations to get out of Friday's protest?
Well, out of Friday's protest, we're hoping for the 100%, and I hope the government listens. But at the same time, one of the main things we want to do is, the eyes of the world's on us, and we want Sky News in this year. We want the eyes of the world on this year. We want us on every YouTube channel. We want to shame this Irish government that they start going out and checking every quarries, that no other family has to go through this torture and anxiety and mental health issues of people in Donegal. And now it's come on to Mayo, Tipperary, Clare, Sligo, Limerick. You know what I mean? It should not happen. Like, not in the 21st century. There's people up here suicidal, and it's just so heartbreaking. We want a public inquiry. What country in the world would have a problem that costs over 2 billion to fix, that wouldn't want to know, wouldn't want a public inquiry to see what happened?
Yeah.
How do we stop this in the future? So this march in Dublin is to show the country, show Ireland. There's a big, massive march. Look at the amount of people on them. Holy God, it's crazy the amount of people there. What are they there? What are they there? Their houses are falling down because of MICA. The government has turned their backs on them because the government knew about it for 10 years and never done nothing about it. Never regulated their quarries after being warned every single year for the last 10 years. Never done a thing about it.
Yeah. And that's something I don't think people understand, is the cost of this. It's going to affect more homes across the country. And so I don't see how people aren't more up in arms about this. And I saw you on the news the other day. You said, you want all of Ireland out marching, to support, because it could happen to you next.
There's no doubt about it. There's other quarries now. There's other quarries. But you see, when they're not regulated, I work in construction site, and I have to put about a foot of pea gravel over the top of the pipes. But if I'm paying for that pea gravel and nobody comes and watches me, I'll put 6 inches on it. And if another month nobody comes and checks me, I'll put 2 inches on it. And if nobody comes and checks me again, listen, I'll just put the topsoil over the top of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that's the way it is. They're there for a reason. They've got a job. And the European legislation says Ireland government have to regulate quarries. Then they passed on to Donegal County Council. Nobody's ever done it. They haven't watched it, even after being warned numerous times. But what makes me sick to stomach is the government out there, and they turn around and saying it's not the taxpayers' fault. Taxpayers shouldn't have to withstand this bill. You're goddamn right, it's not the taxpayers' fault. The taxpayers shouldn't have to, because the government were warned every single year and wouldn't stop it. And the government themselves built a tax office in Cairndonagh that's going to cost about 2 million to fix. They've built housing estates with the same manufacturer's blocks. The government wouldn't listen. Not only would they not listen, they kept doing it. What's the definition of insanity?
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. This is what the government was doing. And now, instead of them having a £2 million problem, now they have a £2 billion problem.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't do their job.
And I completely agree. And Leo came out and he said, the taxpayer shouldn't have to front this. That's throwing the victims of MICA under the bus to, throw them into the wolves of the taxpayer. They're trying to pitch us against you, which isn't the case.
Yeah, they're doing a divide and conquer, trying to divide, make a split.
Yeah.
Well, as simple as this. Simple as this. If you put me and Leo Varadkar in front of a judge, and Leo Varadkar says, Judge, Your Honour, it's not the taxpayer's fault. And he said to me, what have you got to say about this, Paddy Diver? I would say, no, you're goddamn right. It's not my fault, or it's not the taxpayer's fault. You know whose fault it is? There's a man standing there, Leo Varadkar. That's whose fault it is. Because in 2017, he was warned that this is getting worse. This defective blocks is getting serious. There's houses actually starting ready to crumble and fall down. And even at that, he done nothing. Nothing. The man's running a country. Fianna Gael been in power for nearly over 10 years. Every single year they were warned about this and done nothing. Yeah. So what we're turning around to them now is and saying to them, we're sick of you not listening to the people. You have voted on to look after us. You have let us down. And I'll tell you what, see if you don't look after us now and give us 100% redress, you're finished. For my children will never vote for Fianna Gael or Fianna Fáil again, and nobody affected by MICA or Pyrite ever will, because That government can waste billions in the children's hospital. It's gone missing. Billions in the banks. A load of other stuff you can get on YouTube and find. A load of other mistakes has cost millions. The printer that they ordered from England cost 2 million because it wouldn't fit on the door, and they had a reconstruction of building to suit it.
So if the government, let's say, next week or whenever they come, they say we're going to give full redress, and whatever it costs, what will happen then? Obviously, we'll have to, see if their words match their actions. But would that give the people of Donegal and Mayo some sort of peace of mind if they just came out and said we're going to do 100% redress?
Oh God, I swear to God, hey, people could get their lives back. People could get their lives back. It would just be brilliant. There'd be street parties. Nobody's looking for compensation.
Yeah.
All they want is their houses fixed.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is everybody knows it's not their fault.
Yeah.
It's the government's fault. They just want their lives back. It would be, I think, the government's got a very big choice here now, because at the end of September, if they give 100% redress, yes, it'd be brilliant. Everybody can smile and laugh and get their lives back. But if they say no,
what does 90% redress mean to the average person? What are the costs involved in that other 10%?
That other 10% means they cannot get rehomed. I've got a friend, Mary O'Regan. She's a 7-year-old woman. She's her house built, paid for, the whole shebang, her feet up. She's no income, so the banks won't give her money. Credit union won't give her money. So if she's put out of her house, she's no way of ever getting back into her house in her last run in life. That's not Irish style. We can't leave nobody behind here. A single mother with 4 children.
Yeah.
After 10 years, there's not even an office set up that you can walk in and ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing. There's literally nothing.
The people in Dublin, when they got Pyrite, were rehomed into new accommodation, and they would stay there until their houses was fixed. And rightly so. But the people in Donegal, when we were told about the MICA and the other 90-10 scheme, were told, find your own accommodation. Go and live in a shed if you have to. Buy a caravan. There's people today living in caravans, watching their house getting crumbled down, day by day, getting taken down. Their children are watching us. This takes a little piece out of your soul every time. I can't imagine living in a caravan. My wife wants to live in a caravan and try and keep costs down. I can't imagine my life's work putting a digger through the roof of my house and pulling away all the memories. My father's passed away. He made the cornerstones. My father-in-law helped me put the founds in this house. Our children's markings, every year they get older, is marked on the walls. My life dreams to own a family home and my castle, as every man calls it, is gone. To watch that crumble down in front of you, what's been told by the government, because they have not to this day allowed us accommodation.
Yeah.
They've told us it cost us 7,000 to get off the scheme, but in Dublin it was 500. Like, boys, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, there's, when you juxtapose the two against each other, there is no comparison. Tell me then just about did anyone try to sue Cassidys? Like, why? Like, how has there been no injunction, a legal route to go after them?
There has been people try to sue them, but you see, the problem was there's no class actions in Ireland.
Yeah.
Well, hard to get the money gathered up to take them on, but 5 or 6 families there did. But you see, the mistake they made was they got a local solicitor, and the local solicitor then turned around then and says that no, Cassidys have no insurance.
What?
If you take on this fight in the last 5 years, you're not going to get anything in it because they've no insurance.
What do you mean?
So they believed us. Well, you see, they believed us. But then there's a picture supposedly the solicitor was out playing golf for one of the Cassidys. So the case fell flat. But at the minute, Sean Haggerty and Aidan Sheridan, Simon Barr, Jamie Lee from Mayo, they're at the minute looking at Coleman legal team in Dublin.
Yeah.
And they're looking to reinvent the case against Cassidys, against the Donegal County Council, and against the state, as far as I know at the minute. They were going down that legal route, and at the minute, I'm just looking to help out the families to get rehomed now, because the legal route it's going to take 6 to 10 years. I'm putting all my heart and soul into helping the families now at this moment in time to get this 100% for the family homes. So they are 100% right in doing what they're doing. They're heading down that legal route, and I wish them. I hope to God that they get it. But at the moment, I'm using all my energy to help the family homes.
It's two different fights. You're, if you like, you're the face of the movement. I like to say. Would you consider the next election running for as a TD or as a councillor yourself after this, after becoming such a popular figure in this fight?
No, I really don't think so. Hey, I really don't think so. I haven't thought about it. I haven't really thought about it so much, but no, I don't. But then again, so as I was talking to another man, and he says, "Well, we don't want to see change." And I said, "I'd love to see change. I'd love to be. I don't understand how these councillors go in there and then get sucked in to the wee bubble and actually do nothing. I would love to get a good change." I said, "But you're too dirty in there." I said, "What to do that? Nothing." And he said, "Well, put it this way." He says, "Do you ever hear a wee buzzing bee or a wee buzzing fly? One of them blue bottles, as you call them." He says, "If there's one of them in a room," he says, "do you realize how annoying they can be?" He said, "Do you realize how annoying you could be?" And that actually got me thinking. But at the minute now, listen, there's nothing happening for 3 years now, so people will probably forget about Paddy Diver in 3 years' time. So I'm not thinking like that at the minute.
Well, I think let's see where this ends up, but I could see it as a natural progression. But then just one last thing while we're talking about the council, I think what they have real guilt on their hands is the contracts with Cassidys. The fact that they're just still open, it's just I put out the video on Friday, and all weekend the number one question I got was like, how is this quarry still open? Why was Cassidys still open? Everyone is just the country is surely questioning it now. And what is the mood like up in Donegal around Cassidys?
I'll tell you, the mood around Cassidys is actually absolutely shocking. This is like a schoolboy would ask these questions. How is that quarry still operating? They never fulfilled the regulations. They get a 20-year, 5-year plan mission in 7 weeks. How has nobody got to the bottom of it? How are they still open? How is their assets not froze? How that? They're still operating to this day. It's actually a different level of madness.
It is, and listen, I can't believe it. It's made me genuinely angry, I must say, to see that this carry on has gone on, and the videos you put up. I think in part 2 of one of your videos, you really went into the environmental aspect of it and how you got no help from the EPA. You've got no help at any turn. And I honestly think it's a complete disgrace. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to say to all my viewers, the march is on this Friday at the 8th of October. I'm going to be there. Paddy, can you give us more details on that? How many numbers are you expecting?
Well, we're starting up with the Garden of Remembrance, 12 o'clock. We have a bit of speeches maybe done up on there around 12:30, and then we'll head down towards O'Connell Bridge. And we're asking anybody that realizes the pain and the mental torture that these people in Ireland and family homes have been going through for this many years to come and stand up and help us. Because the crowd that we took down to Dublin on the 8th of October, and will nearly determine when we get out of this. So if anybody's any ounce of Irishness or any ounce of this humanitarian, stand up for us, because we need help. We want Sky News on it. And anybody out there that's got any media attention or media analysts say Sky News or anything like that, we want to shame this country all over Europe and show them the power of the people is bigger than the people in power. That's what we really want to do. That's what the numbers is here for. We do not expect them to come out. So they wouldn't even come out when we went down to Convention Centre in Leinster House the last time.
Yeah, no, I thought that was shocking as well. They should have come out immediately. The fact that Micheál Martin waited until the crowd left and scurried out to shake the hands of a few latecomers, that video in itself was shocking. It showed very little respect in my eyes. And then the one minister who did come out was Darragh O'Brien, who did highlight this issue back in 2012. So I like to say that he's trying his best, but there's a brick wall blocking him from raising the issue any further, or there was back then.
Well, listen, there might be a brick wall facing them, but they know this tier time here now. There's not one county in Ireland that should ever forget this here. That if you vote for your politicians, just you watch what these politicians do when families take into trouble.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with climate change or fur coats here. This is Irish families. And if you ever think that you voted for a party to turn their back on the Irish families, they should never be allowed to run a country. And I am not politically aligned, never was. But this is the bottom line.
Yeah. I'm not politically aligned either. I agree that the one thing of a government is to make sure people have houses, people have homes, people have food, and they're failing on the first two. So
well,
listen,
they're definitely failing this year, because I know old age pensioners now that cannot sleep unless they have a sleeping tablet. I know mothers of maybe 4 or 5 children that now have to take anxiety tablets to get through the day. I know mothers that had to leave their children to school in the morning and came home and cried nearly for 5 hours, and I had to compose themselves to go and lift their children from school again. I know my daughter is 8 years of age and won't sleep in her room because she's scared the roof's going to come down. So we had to take our bed into our room and live like this. And I could tell you another 1,000 stories that would break your heart. And we have a government in power to stop things like this happening in the 21st century, and they're not stopping it.
Yeah. No, it's shocking. It is. So listen, Paddy, I know you're busy. I know you've other things to be doing. So listen, I'll say thanks a million for taking the time. I'll be supporting you on Friday. I hope many people from Dublin or Tipperary or wherever my audience is supports you as well. So the best of luck. We're behind you.
Hey, listen, thanks a million.